In a previous video, I showed how I designed and assembled my own T10 style LED bulbs for the purpose of installing them in my car for the interior lighting. I was kind of sick of these cheap bulbs I was getting from AliExpress, which didn't last very long due to poor thermal performance, and also they had this nasty blue tint color for the LEDs. The video I'm talking about is Vololog 319. Those bulbs have been installed in my car for the past couple of months. They are great. I love them and I'm pretty sure I will never have to replace those again. And if you haven't seen that video, I will link it on screen right now so you can check it out. Unfortunately, T10 is not the only style of bulb that my VW uses on the interior lights. It also uses this style of bulb, which is called C5W Festoon for the lights on the sun visor area. This comes in a few different lengths. I need mine to be 37.5 millimeters, so you can probably guess what I did next. I took the circuit that I used previously and adapted the layout to fit the C5W outline. I took inspiration from an existing AliExpress C5W LED replacement, and they are using these metal caps on the end of these bulbs. I'm gonna recycle them from a bunch of these bulbs that I already have. I don't know where you would get these end caps, but I think you really need them, and I guess the best option would be to purchase the cheapest C5W bulbs you can get and just recycle the end caps. I made my design to be a single-sided load unless you want to fit the smoothing capacitor, which sits on the other side. The capacitor is not always needed. It depends on how noisy your 12-volt line is and whether or not it's pulse width modulated, because if it is, it doesn't always show up nice on these LED bulbs, so it helps to have some smoothing in there. The driver I'm using is the same as last time, AL5809 constant current driver, and I'm gonna go with the 60 milliamps rated driver. This has been running pretty cool on the previous design, so I expect it to run even cooler on this new design in terms of thermals because of the increased copper area I have on this PCB. This is larger than the previous design. I'm also using the same LED as last time, Cree 2835J series. These ones are 4000K. I also have the 5000K variant of this LED, but I think last time I ended up with using 4000K, and that's the color I want, same as last time. These have a high CRI over 95, which I can tell you has been very pleasing for my eyes in the past couple of months. It really is, as far as I am concerned, the perfect choice of color temperature for this application. As far as the PCB goes, same as last time, I panelized the design to get as many single units as possible from a single panel. I managed to fit 12 pieces in this panel, which is smaller than 10 by 10 centimeters, and PCBWay kindly manufactured these boards. Let me take these out so we can check out the quality. They look really nice, the quality is good, same as always when ordering from PCBWay, and this design is open source, so if you're interested in ordering your own, check out the link in the description below. You can download this design and order your own from PCBWay. I also got a stencil with these, which should help with even solder paste distribution to get some nice soldering on these LEDs. And if you're wondering about the specs on these, I mentioned them on the panel. These are standard FR4 1.6 millimeter thickness, 2 ounces copper. I didn't went with any coating for this. I went with the standard Hassel finish white solder mask. So same as before, I tried to maximize the available copper planes and use the entire surface of the PCB because that is our heatsink, so the more the better, and I went with 2 ounce copper thickness for the same reasons. There are a bunch of vias to thermally and electrically connect the top and bottom plates, and right here in the middle of the board where the LEDs sit, I removed the solder mask for two purposes. One, to reflect as much of the light coming from the LEDs back into the bulb enclosure, and two, to help with power dissipation, because not having a solder mask on top of the copper is going to help with thermal transfer between the PCB and the surrounding air. So now I'll speed up the video while I assemble one of these panels. First, I applied solder paste using the provided stencil. The solder paste I use is leaded from a brand called Mechanic. It has a melt point of 183 degrees Celsius and it works really nice for prototypes. I'll put a link to this stuff in the description below so you can check it out. Next, I placed the components one by one, making sure I got the polarity right. Next, I placed the board on my hot plate and heated up to 200 degrees Celsius, which allowed the solder paste to reflow nicely. When finished, I also popped it under the microscope for a quick inspection before power up, and everything looked right, so it was now time for a functional test. I set my power supply to about 10 volts and just ran the test leads across each LED to check if both LEDs power up. The next step was to break these away from the panel, sand away the edges so they remain clean and smooth, and then attach the end caps. For attaching the end caps, I have these pads on the PCB to which I can add some solder paste and then slip the end cap and heat with hot air from the outside until the solder paste melts. At least that's how they do it on the AliExpress bulbs, which I've taken apart. Here is a look at the final assembly. Unfortunately, there will be no thermal camera test on this video because, as you may know, I made an announcement on the channel. I accidentally dropped my FLIR 1 thermal camera, which damaged the connector and it no longer connects. But what we can do is to try and attach a thermocouple to one of these LED bulbs and see how hot they get. If you remember the T10 LED bulbs, those reached 42 degrees Celsius over the ambient temperature, and that was on the LED driver. Well, these ones with the increased board area and thus heatsink capability, they reached about 57 degrees Celsius in an ambient of 25 degrees Celsius. So that would be about 32 degrees Celsius over ambient for these ones versus 42 degrees Celsius for the T10 bulbs. So slightly better results for these ones. We're not measuring exactly the same. I don't have my thermal camera to measure on the driver, but still both are very good when compared to the AliExpress bulbs, and for this they should last a lifetime. And if you're wondering, the temperature kind of stabilized after about 8 or 10 minutes of running time. There is no point in running other kinds of tests like the stability of the driver, because that was all tested in the previous video, which I will link on screen for you to watch it. So I'm really happy with how these turned up. Here's a picture of the before. In this image towards the right, I have the T10 bulbs, which I designed running at 4000K, and to the left above the sun visor I have some AliExpress bulbs, and you can see they have this blue tint, which I don't like at all. Now here's a picture after I installed the new C5W LEDs I designed, and now I have the same temperature all over, which is pretty nice. And I can tell you that this high CRI the LEDs have really helps make the interior lights feel more natural. Colors on the various objects do really look like they're supposed to look. Thank you for watching this video. I always appreciate the feedback I get from you through the comment section, so let me know what you think about this project. And if you're thinking about supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page, where you can choose to support me with as little as $1 per month. That's all. I'll see you next time.